What's the hardest game you ever played? Was it one of the FromSoft games? Baldur's Gate 3 on Honor Mode? Or maybe one of the classics like Ninja Gaiden or Battletoads? Because I've noticed something. Whenever people say a game is hard, they're usually not talking about the same thing at all. Sometimes they mean fast reactions. Sometimes they mean just having more patience. And sometimes they just mean I have no idea what the hell is happening right now. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized game difficulties isn't really just one thing. It's like a bunch of different problems sharing the same label. Let's start with the obvious one, the mechanical difficulty. This is the classic get good type of hard. This is about having good timing, good reaction speed, or having perfect precision. You see this a lot in games like Dark Souls, Sekiro, or most importantly, fighting games. Any games where execution really matters. You have to learn when to dodge, when to attack, how to block, how to jump, or just how to pull combos without panicking. This is the difficulty that can be brutal at first, but this one usually feels fair. When you mess up, you know exactly what you did wrong. And honestly, this one's kind of satisfying. When I first booted up Street Fighter 6, I spent hours in the practice room just learning how basic combos work. And when I got to a point where I feel like I could beat some ass, I went ahead straight into my first online match, right? With this one, I wasn't really expecting to win. I was just trying to gauge where I'm at. What I didn't expect was the absolute ass whooping that I was about to witness. After losing like 5 matches in a row, badly, it just clicked on me. I knew I wasn't going to win. These people just had more hours than me. They understood the mechanics. They understood how the game actually worked. But it was like me stepping in the UFC octagon, expecting a fair fight. But my first match was prime Conor McGregor. Same thing happened to me when I first played Sekiro. Coming from Dark Souls, I was so used to dodging everything. But this game, you're a ninja, right? You should be untouchable. You dodge everything, you're fast. The moment enemies see you, they're already dead. But then I hit Lady Butterfly, and dude, I think I lost like 3,000 brain cells that day. I was dodging perfectly, right? Or so I thought. I kept dying over and over. For some reason, my tactics of being an untouchable ninja, it just wasn't working. But then I slowly realized something. It didn't matter how clean my dodges were or how fast I could run. I had to adapt. So I started utilizing parrying more. And slowly, I was parrying in chains, and after a few more tries, it finally clicked. And the moment I beat her, I realized that I didn't just beat the boss. I understood the game better. Which brings us to the next kind of difficulty actually. Some games, they're really hard because they explain absolutely nothing. Knowledge-based difficulty. This isn't about execution anymore. This is about you lacking knowledge and missing information. We got stuff like damage formulas, hidden mechanics, technical stuff that exists but never really explained. You can have like incredible mechanical skills, but if you don't understand how the systems work, you're always going to be hitting a wall. In fighting games, you can practice 12 hours a day, learning combos, executing them perfectly, right? But if you don't understand spacing, frame data, what's punishable or what isn't, you'll never learn to get past a certain level. Elden Ring is another good example. A lot of people really struggled on their first playthrough because this world is massive, right? There's so much to learn. But when they do their second one, when you do your second playthrough, suddenly things feel smoother, easier, just more fun. And it's not because the game changed, but because you just understand it more now. But sometimes there's a difficulty that's not really in the game at all. It's in your head. Psychological difficulty. And this is when the game gives you all the tools to win. But for some reason, you either downright refuse to use them or just straight up ignore them. When I first played Elden Ring, I absolutely refused to use the spirit summons. I told myself, hey, I've beaten other Souls games, right? There's no way I'm gonna need this. So I just powered through all the bosses on my own. Because using summons felt like cheating to me. It's like if I used them, I wasn't playing the right way. At the end of the day, I just made the game harder for myself. A lot of people call this self-imposed difficulty, where your mindset just actively work against you. And I gotta be honest, I do this all the time. Sometimes I'll knowingly pick a bad build just to see if I can make it work, right? Like playing a pure bow build in Elden Ring, even though I know bows kind of suck in this game. Was it optimal? Absolutely not. Was it fun though? Hell yeah, it is. But yeah, whenever we do this, the hardest enemy in the game isn't the boss anymore. It's your own brain. If you ask me what the hardest game is of all time, I would probably say Dota 2. If you don't know what Dota 2 is, it's a game where 2 teams of 5 try to destroy the other team's base. Sounds simple, right? But here's the problem. On top of learning your hero, the map, the items, how to last hit, how to deny what build, or just the overall game, on top of all of that, you also have to work with 4 other people. And let's be honest, at least 2 of them are absolute Neanderthals. You can play perfectly and you still lose. One mistake, somebody tilts, it snowballs, egos clash, and next thing you know, you're trapped into a 45-minute match where everybody's just saying the worst thing to each other, right? When you play single player games, it's just you versus the game. But on games like Dota, it's between you, the game, your teammates, the enemy's team, and everybody's ego. And honestly, this is why I stopped playing multiplayer games. There's just so much you can't control. But yeah, once you identify difficulty this way, you start noticing differences. Some difficulties, they just feel cheap. Bullet sponges, cheap one-shots. Sometimes it's just straight up RNG. On the other hand, there's also like meaningful difficulties, and that's learning the patterns, learning positioning, risk versus reward. These difficulties you can overcome just by understanding the game better. And when it clicks, man, it's one of the greatest feelings ever. So yeah, whenever people say just get good, sometimes it literally just means putting more hours, or learning the mechanics, the system, or just literally watching a top 10 tip video on YouTube and realizing you've been doing it wrong the whole time. So yeah, whenever somebody says a game is hard, they're probably not wrong. They're just describing what their version of hard is. Once I realized that, games got way less frustrating.